Hello, and welcome to the very first installment of the Book Arts Lab Curiosity Kits. This installment is called Bits to Books. So this is what we'll be making today. This is a small 3-signature book made from bookboard and scrap paper or found paper, all from the Book Arts Lab. Alright, let's get started. Alright, let's take a look inside your kits. Inside your kit, you should have 2 covers, a spine, and a template. Approximately 25 pieces of paper with some smaller little extra bits for decoration, a needle and thread, some binder clips. One of the binder clips will also have a push pin in it, as well as some tape. And then from home, you might want to grab a glue stick, some scissors, and a pen or a marker. So the first thing you're going to want to do is take the little clips off of your tape, and you may find that the tape is sort of rolling back on itself, and if this is the case, you can roll it backwards to flatten it out, and it should now lie flat. Next, we're going to be sticking our boards to the tape. So start by peeling the backing off of the tape, and then you're going to lay it flat on the table, sticky side up. Alright, now grab your spine and try and center it on the tape, centering it both up and down and side to side. Alright, now you're going to grab your 2 covers, aligning them with the previously attached spine, but making sure to leave a small gap between the cover and the spine. The gap should be approximately the same thickness as the bookboard. Now fold the 2 ends of the tape over the spine and covers. Alright, so make sure to press the tape down and smooth it out to ensure good adhesion. You can also use the pen or marker to smooth this out even more, making sure to press into the creases, and do this on both sides of the book. Now you've created your cover. Now we're going to poke our holes through the spine. You probably noticed that the spine had pre-punched holes, and these are the ones that we are aiming for. So you're going to use your push pin to make the holes. You may need to sort of poke around a little bit to find the holes, but once you find them, poke the pin all the way through the spine and wiggle it around to make sure that the hole is visible. You should have 3 holes in a row, so you may find it helpful to use a pen or marker to draw a line across these holes, just so that you can see them and it's a little bit clearer when you're sewing. Make sure that this line is on the inside of the book. This is the side with the tape seam. Now go ahead and repeat this with the other 2 rows of holes. So once you're finished, you should have 3 rows of 3 holes. Next, you're going to grab your papers. If you have some smaller sort of decorative pieces, just put those aside for later. And we're going to create our signatures. A signature is what we call a bundle of paper folded together. You're going to start by organizing your paper into sort of 3 roughly even groups. Because the paper is all different sizes, try and have a balance of each size within each signature. So some of the papers may already be folded, but some of them you're going to have to fold yourself. So please fold the unfolded papers now before going to the next step. To make our signatures, we're going to need to nest these folded papers by placing each paper inside the last, as you can see here. If you have any smaller pieces of paper, make sure that they're lined up along the center, just so that there's always somewhere to sew it. Now put your first signature aside and repeat this process with the other 2 stacks of paper. Next, we're going to poke holes in the signatures so that we can sew them together. So start by grabbing your template and folding it in half. Now grab your first signature and open it to the center. We're going to place the template into the fold, making sure that the template is sort of centered up and down and placed directly into the fold. You can grab a binder clip to clip the template to the signature just to make it easier to hold and keep everything together. Now you're going to grab your push pin and poke holes down the center column of the spine of the template, making sure that the push pin goes all the way through all of the pages in the signature and is directly in the fold. Alright, now you're going to unclip the template, but make sure to reclip the pages altogether and put your first signature aside and repeat this process for the remaining 2 signatures. Each one should have 3 holes all directly in the fold. Each kit has a bundle of 1 to 2 pieces of wax thread. You're going to start by unwinding these pieces of thread and then running them through your hands to just sort of straighten them out and make sure that they're not wiggly. Now you're going to open up the bundle and take out your needle and thread it. So pull the thread all the way through the needle until you're left with a short tail. If you are having trouble, you can take out the thread and flatten it on the table and just sort of push down the end with your thumb. This should make it easier to thread. Once your needle is threaded, leave a short tail, but remember not to double it or tie a knot. Grab your cover and then grab your first signature, lining up the folded edge with the first column of holes on the cover. Try to line up the holes as best as possible. Then use your binder clip to clip the signature to the cover. Starting on the inside of the signature, bring the needle through the top hole of the book through to the outside of the signature, leaving a small tail on the inside. Use the binder clip to clip the tail to the book. Working from the inside of your cover, pass the needle through the top hole of the first column to the outside of the spine. From there, you will bring the needle up through the second hole down in the same column, through to the inside of the cover. This will create a line on the outside of the spine. Now pass the needle through the second hole in the signature back to the inside of the book. Make sure that your thread is snug. If you need to adjust your tension, make sure to tug the thread in the direction you are sewing so as not to rip the paper. Now you are going to go back out through the last hole of the signature, and then through the bottom hole of the cover, making sure that you are still working in the first column of holes. Now that you are back on the outside of the spine, the final step is to return through the center hole of the signature. Pass your needle through the center hole of the spine and the signature, finishing on the inside of the book. Unclip your starting thread and tie a double knot between the two ends. You can use your scissors to trim the excess thread, but make sure not to trim it too close to the knot so it doesn't come undone. Now you've finished your first signature. For the next two signatures, you'll be following the exact same process, but sewing them into the second and third columns of holes respectively. If you have pieces of paper shorter than the book, make sure you are holding them in place as you sew. Now your book is complete. This next step is where you make the book your own. Grab any extra bits, stickers, or anything else you want to use to decorate your book. Congratulations! You've now turned bits into a book. We want to see what you've made. Be sure to share and tag us on Instagram @CUBookArtsLab.